With the disappointment I've had from the direction that Disney and Lucasfilm have taken the Star Wars franchise, I have been enjoying focusing on other sci-fi and fantasy content. As many of my viewers have no doubt noticed, I've been working on a lot of Dune content. However, I still like to keep up to date with what is happening with Star Wars, simply because the original trilogy and expanded universe will always hold a special place in my heart. So I'd like to cover the most recent news in Star Wars, in regards to their alleged groundbreaking project regarding the High Republic. What was once called Project Luminous has now turned out to be a series of books and comics set a mere 200 years before the Phantom Menace. While some may be excited for a fresh new take on the Star Wars canon, others, including myself, are feeling simply indifferent about it, and feel like the whole announcement just comes across as a publicity stunt. It's probably not a coincidence that Bob Iger announced his stepping down as Disney CEO the next morning. But regardless of the timing of this announcement, while it may seem that they just started getting off the ground with this sweeping project, this has actually been in the works for quite a while. An article from Inverse.com covers some details regarding the High Republic press conference. According to ABC News correspondent Clayton Sandell, during the High Republic press conference, it was revealed that this original concept dates back to 2014. He says the concept of a massive interconnected story was first pitched in 2014, a year before The Force Awakens hit theaters. Honestly, that doesn't surprise me, since one of the first decisions Disney and Lucasfilm made was to declare the expanded universe non-canon, so it makes sense that they had planned to replace it at some point. A decision I vehemently disagreed with at the time, though had not yet realized that was the first in a long line of poor decision-making. It definitely was a sign of things to come. Throughout the whole process of Kathleen Kennedy taking over Lucasfilm and Disney's acquisition of it, their main goal has been to take the beloved universe George Lucas created and to morph it into what they wanted it to be. And I find it interesting too how they are touting this High Republic project as something that has never been done before. They are just going on pretending that decades worth of expanded universe storytelling hasn't happened and that they are actually the first ones to attempt it. While a lot of fans were hoping to hear that this announcement would actually be a movie, it looks like they'll be waiting a while for that. Going back to this article covering the press release for this announcement, they were very careful in their phrasing. The press release says, this period on the Star Wars timeline will not overlap any of the films or series currently planned for production, which gives creators and partners space to tell Star Wars stories in a never-before-explored timeline. So Lucasfilm's press release for the High Republic went out of its way to say that this project will not overlap with films or series, which essentially means the company wants everyone to focus on this being a series of books and comics. So yes, looks like there's no film or series planned in this era that will overlap with this publishing project. And given the tidbits they revealed about the planned storyline in their trailer for it, it's not hard to see why. To me, it looks so boring. This is a time of peace where the Jedi serve as Texas Rangers, and their biggest threat is a group of space Vikings. This is so underwhelming. And honestly, I just don't see this being a success, mostly because what happened after the sequel trilogy ended. I feel that lots of people were greatly disappointed on so many different levels. There was just no buzz or excitement from fans that were eagerly wanting more from this Disney era of storytelling. After I saw the original trilogy, I was thirsty for more content. I was so excited to know what came next for Han, Luke, and Leia. And as I dove into the expanded universe, I was not disappointed. I loved escaping into this universe to see the journeys of these beloved characters, and to get wrapped up in stories set tens of thousands of years before the events of the films. That's the thing. It was the films and series that generated this craving in hardcore fans for more content set in that same universe in the form of books and comics. Though the Star Wars sequels certainly pleased many casual fans, those people generally aren't the ones lining up to purchase Star Wars literature. I feel like this announcement would have had so much more weight to it if the movies had generated an excitement with hardcore Star Wars fans, similar to that of the original trilogy. As it is, so many fans were so deeply disappointed by the decisions Disney and Lucasfilm made throughout the sequel trilogy, and as such, they are mostly feeling underwhelmed by this book publishing project. From what I've seen in the trailer of those in charge of creating these new stories, I'm not hopeful for anything worth my time and money. I definitely think including this whiteboard in their trailer was a mistake. This mostly looks like what you'd expect to see in a primary school writing class. They apparently needed to put these items on this whiteboard to remind themselves to have an actual ending, and feelings, and dinosaurs, apparently. They also made a point to say that their writers have very different opinions about Star Wars, and that they are all approaching it from very different places. It sounds to me like they don't actually have a passion for Star Wars at all, and that they are wanting to change Star Wars to fit their viewpoint of it. That was the thing about the previous expanded universe stories. There were so many different kinds of stories, yet they were all approved by George Lucas. They all fit within the Star Wars universe. It looks like Disney and Lucasfilm are continuing with their chaotic, disjointed approach to storytelling. And it makes even more sense to me that this will not be tied to any films or series because of the vastly different approaches they want to take with this time period. It would be very challenging to fit a movie into this chaotic universe. What mostly annoys me about this whole announcement is the complete disregard for what came before. There's no mention of George Lucas and the universe he created, and the incredible stories that stemmed from it. It seems that Disney bought this property to wipe the slate clean and reshape Star Wars into what they want it to be, not to build from what many fans like myself love about it. From the beginning of Disney's acquisition, as they were working through their process in creating new content for Star Wars, there have been several statements and interviews that reveal that the decision makers were focused solely on what the franchise had been missing previously, and that they actually viewed it as incomplete or flawed. It's clear that they continue to see it that way. Normally, I would be so excited for any new Star Wars book to come out, but this isn't Star Wars. It's a collection of different people's versions of Star Wars. Some may be disappointed that this project didn't turn out to be a movie, but maybe in the long run, that's a good thing. They clearly need to work out the kinks in their management of this franchise. There have been so many announcements about new projects in the works, and I can't keep up with all the different trilogies and solo films they said they had planned, and that were subsequently scrapped. It seems that the majority of Disney Star Wars projects are riddled with delays, staff changes, and story rewrites. There needs to be solid leadership in Lucasfilm, not a free-for-all. But I'm not sure how long it will take for them to learn this vital lesson. Thank you for listening to my thoughts, and let me know yours in the comments about this new publishing project from Lucasfilm. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and be sure to subscribe for more Star Wars and other sci-fi fantasy content. Thanks so much for your support, and as always, have a very nerdy day.